Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on successful docking of Axiom Mission 4 at the International Space Station, a significant milestone for India. The participants are Padma Shree Dr. Pramod Kale, former Director ISRO, and Vaibhav Srivastava, anchor.
41 years ago, Indian Air Force Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma scripted history by becoming the first Indian to go to space aboard the Soyuz T-11. This was a historic moment. And today, India witnessed another historic milestone when Indian Air Force Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla became the first Indian to reach the International Space Station. Truly a giant leap of cosmic proportions. The Axiom 4, along with its Dragon crew, have successfully and safely docked at the International Space Station. This is a proud moment for all of us, and especially for India's human space program. It has proven the mettle of our scientists and engineers who have been tirelessly working for the space program. The whole world has seen India's rise in space and how. But this journey was not just simple. It had a lot of support from the Indian government, the Indian people, and today we will be discussing how this journey was. How were the opportunities? How were the challenges? How were those challenges crossed? And what is the direction forward? Today, to discuss all of these, we have a distinguished personality, a special guest with us at Akashvani. We have with us former director of ISRO, Padma Shree, Dr. Pramod Kale. Dr. Kale, welcome to Akashvani.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Kale, how important is the Axiom 4 mission as far as the Indian human space program is concerned? What are your views on the same?
I think it's a very, very important event that has taken place yesterday when I saw Axiom 4 being launched. And then today it has docked with the International Space Station. It is really a marvelous feeling that I get when I see these events taking place. And we are really very fortunate that we are able to see these things live on our television sitting at home. But it has been really a very long journey, starting with Rakesh Sharma. At that particular time, when we were working on the INSAT satellites, an opportunity had come up that we could launch a mission specialist using the space transportation system or the space shuttle, along with our INSAT 1C spacecraft. And that opportunity, we had decided to take it up, and two ISRO scientists were selected as mission specialists. One was Radhakrishnan, another one was N.C. Bhatt, and I was named as the mission director for the ISRO payload scientist mission. The requirement was that along with our communication satellite, one of the two persons can join. So after Rakesh Sharma, this was immediately the first opportunity that became available to ISRO, and we had decided to go ahead with it. The training had started in 1985. It is very unfortunate that in 1986, January, there was an accident. Challenger space transport to this space shuttle had exploded, and after that, NASA stopped taking any of these commercial mission specialists on their missions. But then International Space Station has provided that kind of an opportunity, and it is very good that even after such a long time, we had this particular opportunity available, and Shubhanshu Shukla, as the pilot, has been able to go on this particular mission. We will be in a position to do these types of missions ourselves also. So for the Gaganyaan, this is a very, very important step that Shukla has been able to go to the International Space Station. The International Space Station has been there now for a long time, and first time ISRO and India is getting this opportunity to participate in the scientific and the technical endeavors that they are undertaking. And this will be a very good step for us in the future, because as we start with the Gaganyaan program, which is first launch is likely to be in 2027. But by 2035, we are also expecting to go ahead with the Bharatiya space station. Our own space station will be there.
On the successful docking of the Axiom 4 mission with the International Space Station, let's hear the words of Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh.
India's role in the global arena is not only being acknowledged, but the rest of the world also look forward to India for vital cues. Even before this mission, the Chandrayaan-3 inputs and the findings are being very eagerly awaited by the rest of the world for there, because there also we were the first to reach the southern pole. We were the first to discover the presence of the possibility of water there being on the surface of Moon. The discovery of the H2 molecules which happened through the earlier Chandrayaan mission. So, and that was the first indication of the possibility of habitat being probable over there.
Dr. Kale, what are the roles and responsibilities of a mission pilot in such a mission?
Actually goes on using sensors, automatic systems, ground control, and all other aspects that you think which are necessary for such a mission. But yet, certain things can go wrong, and at that time, the pilot has to then step in and take complete control of the spacecraft in the maneuvers which are required to be carried out for docking, for separation, for re-entry also. I definitely remember that in one of the earlier cases of Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, just at the last moment as he was piloting, he saw some obstacles and he maneuvered the lunar module appropriately. So the pilot has got a very major responsibility of piloting, the controlling and maneuvering the spacecraft. Today also, when the actual maneuvering was happening from a distance of 400 meters, when the Dragon capsule was getting very close to the space station, it is the pilot who actually controls at that particular time the Dragon spacecraft. The ground control is there, they are guiding it, but at the same time the control is with the pilot. And the pilot also has the major responsibility during the re-entry and actually coming back. During the re-entry, the spacecraft has to be maintained in such a fashion that the thermal heating should not really create a problem. And that's where I think the pilot has got a major role to play.
Let's hear the words of astronaut and group captain Shubhanshu Shukla from the International Space Station.
It should be focused on and what does not. So basically, the current age of distraction, I would say. So this means a lot more, not just a zero-G indicator for us. And I think that we all have symbolism in Poland and in Hungary, in India as well. So I think this looks like a coincidence, but it is not. That it has more meaning than what we are attaching it to it. The capsule itself, Grace, has been very kind. I was not feeling very great when we got shot into the vacuum, but since yesterday, I've been told that I've been sleeping a lot.
Dr. Kale, what are the aims and what is the importance of the Axiom 4 mission? What will they achieve in their 14-day scientific expedition in the low Earth orbit?
The 14-day period, during that time, the International Space Station will be orbiting the Earth, a very large number of orbits, I think 10 or 12 orbits per day it will be doing. Every time the International Space Station goes through this kind of work, during that time, there is complete zero gravity. And what are the effects of the zero gravity on the human nervous system, the muscles, the entire general health also? Experiments are going to be carried out. Some of the experiments will deal with the medicinal aspects also, the management of health for the astronauts in the future, because some of the missions could be even much longer missions also. There are some very specific effects which happen particularly on the bone structure as well as the muscles of the human body. But in addition to that, there are certain things which we have yet to fully understand as to what would happen if the seeds were carried in zero gravity. How will they germinate in space? Can we really take them all the way even up to the moon or the Mars and try to germinate them there? So these experiments will give us insight into the future to what happens in the zero gravity. Some of these microorganisms also live. Some of the microorganisms like tardigrades are the ones which are known to be there much longer than some of the other animals and the fauna on the Earth. So we need to really understand as to how radiation affects, how zero gravity affects, and how the life support system is really required to be managed. When we go through these 14 days, during that time, I'm quite certain that Group Captain Shukla will also learn about the complete environmental and climate control for the space station, and how his knowledge will be definitely useful for us in the future when we are looking at our own Bharatiya space station.
Dr. Kale, today we see that the work of some of the great Indian visionaries, be it from the administrative or the government point of view or the scientific point of view, the space program, our rockets and missile technology, the satellites, the commercial launches, everything has been appreciated throughout the globe. The world knows what India can do and they appreciate it and they wish to be a part of the Indian space program very soon on one or the other mission. How have we been able to accomplish all of this in such a small time, and what is the way forward?
Important thing was that in 1960s, when the decisions were taken that we should go ahead with our space program, and one of the first things that we did was with the sounding rockets. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, Dr. Vaibhav, they fully supported the entire concept and insisted that we must develop everything ourselves. Nobody shares propellant-related technology for the rockets, and so we developed that propellant technology in-house within ISRO. And that's how we were able to develop the SLV-3, the first satellite launch vehicle that ISRO built with APJ Kalam as the project director. And we were also working on the satellites, Aryabhatta satellite, Bhaskara, Apple, InSat satellite. We conducted the satellite instructional television experiment in 1975, and that really brought television right to all of our villages. And today what we see everywhere, that was the beginning. But the important thing was that we developed most of this technology ourselves, particularly the launch vehicle technology, which resulted in the PSLV, GSLV, and now LVM-3 also. And all the technologies which were necessary, particularly the cryogenic technology, has now been developed. And the development which has taken place in ISRO has been fully supported by the government, as well as, I must say, that more than 70 to 75% of the work is actually carried out in the Indian industry. And people have to also recognize that it is the industry's contribution which has helped in getting us up to this particular point.
Dr. Kale, how have the government policies, the government initiatives, the government support, and especially Make in India policies have helped in supporting and expanding the Indian space program?
From the very beginning, atomic energy and the space-related things have been fully supported by the government, and they will continue to do so, I'm quite certain, because these are the technologies which have brought us up to the forefront, and it has resulted in applications of this technology for the common persons, say the communication satellites or the remote sensing satellites or meteorological satellites. They are constantly being used. People sometimes don't realize that these are all the things which have been done internally here, just as the nuclear power also have been able to develop our own reactors, and we are proceeding with our own work. And that applications of the technology for the common man's problem, this is one of the important steps in which the government has fully supported, but also people have supported. I have been seeing that after our initial missions, when we started the work, at that time, there was no such thing as internet. And today, with the internet availability, even the school children, they really know something about space. When we started, heard something about what is happening in the colleges, but not in the schools. Today, even the school children are really ready to get into it. So when they look at their own dreams, I'm quite certain that they will realize these dreams also, not just only think about it, because we have a very major program ahead of us. In the next 2 years or so, we should be launching the Gaganyaan program, or the first manned spacecraft we should be launching. After that is the Bharatiya Space Station. There is a program for taking the man on the moon and bringing back also. So we have a long way ahead, and the support that has come from the government and the general public has been really absolutely fantastic. Contribution of the Indian industry has been also extremely well taken up, and in the future, as the industry takes it up, the privatization, and takes us to the stage that the launch vehicles today ISRO is making could be manufactured by the industry, then ISRO scientists, they could be free to take up further additional work, additional challenges as to what new launch vehicles we will require, which are much larger than today's launch vehicle like LVM-3. The joining of the two spacecrafts, the SpaceX experiment, which has been carried out early in this year, and the next one is also coming up, that will take us to the stage where we could launch much larger satellites, which are necessary, particularly if we were to go all the way to the moon and bring some material back so that we could study them and take up further work.
Dr. Kale, thank you so much for joining us at Akashvani and giving us your valuable insights.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on successful docking of Axiom Mission 4 at the International Space Station, a significant milestone for India. The participants were Padma Shree Dr. Pramod Kale, former Director, ISRO, and Vaibhav Srivastava, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani.
Spotlight.